What's up? This is Dan at UTEC from the organizing crew, and today here I have with me.
I'm Rita Mercier. I'm the longest serving city councilor that we have right now. I've been there on the council for 26 years. Don't let my age fool you, this longevity, it's called experience, and I have that. So thank you for having me here this afternoon.
Of course, thank you for being here. I'm just going to ask you a couple questions relating to some current issues that we have within our city.
Sure,
Just
okay.
answer them to the best of your ability, please. So the first question is, would you support rehabbing, expanding, better utilizing our existing homes and storefronts, yes or no?
Yes, that's what we need. What we need is, I'd like to see people come together that own buildings and see if we can come to some agreement to see that they should get something rather than nothing at all. We have empty storefronts downtown, and I'm understanding that the reason for that is because people want a lot of money. Would you rather get something than nothing at all? So I don't know why we couldn't come to some consensus to see if they could help with revitalizing their place, and maybe there's grants available for them. And as far as housing, yes, we need more affordable housing, but I will tell you this, not the expense of neighborhoods to like an attic be converted into an apartment, because that equals a vehicle, and there's a lot of parking issues that we'd have to deal with. So there's pros and cons to different things, but I'm sure we could come to a happy medium to try to make that happen. Because what we have is we have the working poor. They're going couch surfing from one relative to one friend because they can't afford to have an apartment to live in. That is a very sad state of affair, but something needs to be done, and that's a very good question. Thank you.
Of course, thank you. Our next question is our main street / downtown healthy and successful, yes or no? If not, what would you do to change that?
Well, what's happening in the downtown is empty storefronts, and that has been prevalent many years ago when the malls came into existence and people went out to the outskirts, had plenty of place to park. Instead of fighting traffic and trying to find a place to park in the downtown, we have many empty storefronts, but as a city councilor, I know that we have businesses that are coming here too. Sahel, who just opened up on Central Street. They have Caribbean, African, Cameroonian food. They had an open house of which I was there, very delicious. And if you went by, you would never believe what you see when you go inside. The grandeur, the elegance. The owner spent $500,000 to refurbish the whole place. That's what I'd like to see more of, so people can spend their money downtown. But we as residents of the city, it is incumbent upon us to support our local businesses so that they can stay in the city. So with the COVID was kind of tough for them, but we did do everything we could to help them to sustain their livelihood so that they didn't fold up altogether. But I think it's holding its own, but it could be a lot better.
Alright. My next question is, would you vote in support of a motion or allocate from a city budget for incarcerated people who are being released back into society?
From the city budget, I don't know that we could do that from the city budget, but we do need to have some sort of program whereby people that have been incarcerated, and I know about that because it has happened in my own family as well, and that don't make them a bad person. It means that they were unfortunate in some degree, but they came out. Do we not help them? So yeah, I would be in favor of trying to find the money somehow. Yes, I don't know exactly where we'd get it, but yeah, there's always a possibility that probably we could find it. There's always grants available if people can find the right thing. We have grant writers. They're very apt to finding things, and I would be amenable to that. That's a part of society that we take for granted, and we don't seem to focus on that, but it is very important to me.
Alright. As UTEC, we value equality. We as organizers try to decrease racism and violence in the streets. How would you vote on a motion that says racism is a public health issue?
Well, we already had that motion, and we had that motion, and we have 9 city councilors, 6 of us voted that it isn't a public health crisis. Is it prevalent in the city to some degree? Probably it is, and I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but to say the word crisis, I couldn't support the word crisis. I don't want the city to be viewed as a crisis. If racism is such a crisis, why are people from Afghanistan coming here? In Lowell High School alone, we have close to 63 different nationalities. People come here from all over the world. If this is such a bad city, why are they coming here? If it's racist, if it's a public health crisis because of racism in the city, why do they want to come here at all? So I did not support it, and there was caveats connected to that, and one of them was that we have to have a line item to support that, to support this organization. When we get so many organizations in the city, does UTEC have a line item on our budget to support this place? No. Why should we do it for this particular resolution? Let me just say that I think if you want to say, is homelessness a public health crisis? Yes. Is drug addiction? Yes. Is mental illness? Absolutely. But racism, maybe because I don't practice it at all, that I don't see it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. We in the city just hired a DEI officer to look for diversity in hiring practices in the city so that everyone gets an equal fair shot. This is what we do. We do the best we can. And when I asked some of the people that were responsible for this resolution, where are we going to get the money to put in the budget for your DEI? They said, well, we're going to defund the police. I will not defund my police department. I will not. When we have an emergency in the city, we call the police. We don't call DEI. So I'm sorry in advance if I hurt anybody's feelings, but I always say what I feel. I don't put my finger up to see which way the wind is blowing so that I can answer what you want to hear. I don't know it. I might know what you want to hear, but you're not going to hear what you want to hear. I'll tell you what I feel. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm giving you my opinion, and if you don't agree with it, that's fine. I just have my opinions.
I appreciate you being
Thank you.
straightforward. So do you support having our own version of the Carusos Law?
I don't know that law.
You don't know what law it is? Alright, so it's a series of laws that make it a crime for a law enforcement officer to fail to intervene when another officer is using excessive force, and also protects whistleblowers.
Oh, yes, I feel they should protect whistleblowers. Yes, yes. That is very important, yes.
Included
for example, that the incident there where the police officer took Judge, that man, and put his knee on his neck and he died. The officers should have came and stepped in, and they really didn't, and that was they're just as much to blame as that. So yes, I support that.
I just wanted to add, what also is included in this law is a provision, retroactive protection for officers, which allows an officer found to have been terminated for reporting the objectively unreasonable use of force against a civilian or intervening to stop the use of objectively unreasonable force by a fellow officer within the 20-year period preceding the adoption of the law, to have that finding reviewed by a court.
Well, if those officers stepped in when that officer was killing, more or less, that was a murder, Judge Floyd, I believe that they should have been protected, and I believe that the officers that would have stepped in, or a whistleblower, should be protected and not lose their job. I feel that way. That's how I feel.
Well, that's all the questions that we have for you today, and I really appreciate you making
Thank
the
you.
time to come here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that the youth of our city will come forward to be concerned about who's running their city, who's involved with making laws, how do you support this, or you don't support that rule, or whatever. That's good. It's called democracy at its best, and you people here, you're taking part in it, and I'm very, very proud of you for getting involved in this. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. No
Okay,
problem.
buddy? Thank you.